TIDC Talks Healthy Living today. We're so glad you could join us. Hopefully you at least get up and stretch. It's noon. It's kind of a rainy day. Make yourself feel good. I'm your host, Darylyn Coles. I'm here with 4 amazing guest speakers that you'll meet very shortly. And we have Andrew McIsaac on deck. He's running we do have a few slides interspersed here and there just to support. And we have Nadine Kalenga will be watching for all your great questions. We really want this to be interactive, answer questions that you have about healthy spaces and living. So without further ado, let's intro our team here. Who have we got?
Darylyn. Oh my God, so much energy. I love being here. What a great topic. Hello, everyone. My name is Linda Kafka. I am a WELL AP, CLIP, and CAPS certified. I am a trade resource for the trade on aging in place, living in place, and most recently wellness design for the home. And I'm extremely excited to be here and share knowledge.
And me, I am Katie Gutierrez. I am a designer here in Miami, Florida, USA. And I am the leader and founder of a design philosophy called biographical design. It's a design philosophy wherein I design a home and a business to be a reflection of a biography and a story so that the space can feel like a vehicle of self-expression. Now that's cross-contextual, and I am also a biographical design coach wherein I support interior designers and decorators to create businesses that are an expression of their biography so their business can be a vehicle of their self-expression. Hey.
Hi everyone, my name is Alicia Roch. I'm a holistic designer here in Toronto and founder of Alicia Roch Design & Co. We recognize the connection between an individual's home environment and the positive impact it has on their physical health and mental wellness. The goal for every design project is to help clients live a more fulfilled lifestyle. I'm a member of the Sustainable Furnishings Council and a certified green accredited professional. So when designing a space, we understand that there is the importance of selecting sustainable products, materials, and finishes that are healthy for our clients and of course, the environment. So, hi everyone.
Hey everyone, Johnny Graham with Big Ass Fans, National Sales Manager at Big Ass Fans. I've been here about 6.5 years. Prior to that, I have about 10 years experience in the construction and building sciences field. And my educational background is actually environmental sciences. So today we'll be talking a little bit about clean air and how we get there.
Beautiful. We are so excited. So we know healthy spaces can really mean different things to different people. And you all have, it's an interesting mix we have today, from the scientific to the psychological side, the product side, the technical. What does healthy spaces mean to you, Linda?
Well, excellent question, Darylyn, and thank you. Everyone I'm speaking to today is asking me that same question, it seems like. But what I'm hearing out there is a vast difference of knowledge between consumers and designers and their understanding of what a healthy home is. So our homes, our communities, and surrounding environments directly affect our daily behaviors and our lifestyles. Together, they determine up to 80 to 90% of our health outcomes. And since our homes are typically our most important personal investment and expenditure, it's only logical that they should also be an investment in our health and our well-being. So to answer what a healthy home is, we really need to look at several factors within our indoor spaces, like our air quality, our lighting, our thermal, acoustics, water, and even how we move within our spaces. All of these directly impact our body systems and our health outcomes. So currently, right now, and probably escalated because of COVID, air quality is top of mind. Everybody is questioning and talking about air quality. And so air pollution is recognized globally as a major contributor to the development of disease and premature deaths, and represents the largest environmental risk factor to human health. And just look at those staggering numbers that we're seeing there on that slide. In the US, outdoor air is governed by the Environmental Protection Agency Act, which was established back in the 70s. And they had the Clean Air Act that was actually established in 1963. In Canada, we all know we have the Environment Canada, That was established in 1971 with our Clean Act Air being passed in 1970. And so they regulate the air pollution on the outside. So I'm sure most of you, or I'm curious to know how many of you realize that we breathe 15,000 liters of air per day. Andrew, thank you. The concentration of many pollutants indoors often exceed outdoor pollutants, with both short and long-term health implications. And ongoing studies have identified that our homes can be 5 times more polluted than outdoors. But despite all these staggering numbers, and simply put, our outdoor air pollution is regulated and our indoor air is not. So to go back to answering your question on what is a healthy home should reduce the transmissions of airborne illness, promote health and wellness for every day. We should, regardless actually of your age or health conditions, everybody deserves to have enhanced environments that are designed to promote and good quality health and reduce any risks overall. So as designers, you can positively impact your client's health through the design and product selections that you make. To improve well-being, you should be considering products that enhance your client's energy or their sleep or their overall well-being and reduce indoor air contaminants that negatively impact their respiratory or their cardiovascular or their immune systems and their cognitive health. And you should also be specifying products that filter contaminants and pollutants from the air and expel odors and toxins and remove harmful chemicals and pathogens. We've even learned, and we've been talking about it for several years now, the kinds of furnishings and the products that we specify and the VOCs and the off-gassings that they actually contribute and come into our indoor environments and how they contribute to poor indoor air quality. You're looking at drinking water quality. Often it fails the minimum, or I should say the maximum contaminant levels that are set by the various governing standards, like the ones I mentioned earlier. But when it comes to rest, we need transitional ambient space or ambience within our spaces. We need to prepare for sleep. We need to be energized when we wake, and we need to minimize disruption and light pollution and mitigate that blue light exposure, as many of us are talking about blue light and the impact it has on affecting our sleep. Sleep deprivation increases the risk of high blood pressure, heart disease, obesity, diabetes, depression. Natural lighting patterns help our body maintain its circadian rhythm, which can improve our hormone balance, our appetite, our sleep, our energy, our productivity. And prolonged exposure to artificial light can actually destabilize critical functions like our sleep-wake cycle, our hormone release, and digestion. So kind of wrapped up, there's a lot of science in there and a lot of different things that we're talking about, but creating a healthy home goes beyond just the colors that we're picking or the furnishings that we're picking. We're really having to do a much deeper dive into, what actually makes a healthy home. And, and if you can imagine a healthy home that actually nurtures our health and our well-being, then, I believe that as designers that you've really achieved that goal that client may have been hiring you for, is to really enhance and create a beautiful environment for them. Alicia?
Wow, so really great points. Linda, I think you hit a lot of important pieces. And to add to what Linda has said, I would say that a healthy space is also free of toxins. It's natural, functional, inspiring, and reflects the individuals that live there. I like to look at it in 2 aspects. There's the physical and the psychological aspect to create a healthy space. The first step is making sure to select natural, organic materials and products in the space that will not negatively impact occupants and, of course, the environment. This is a very big and crucial piece to holistic design. We spend about 90% of our times indoors, and with the pandemic, we are home now more than ever. We have to be aware of some common sources of indoor air pollutants. Some of them Linda has actually mentioned. So off-gassing from furnishings and products, VOCs, house dust mites, allergens, and mold spores that can negatively impact our health. As it relates to VOCs, those are volatile organic compounds. They can be found in paints, carpet adhesives, cleaning products, and even scented candles and air fresheners. Dust mite allergens can be found in carpet, bedding, and furniture that can aggravate asthma, nasal inflammation, and eczema. and mold spores. So these can be typically found in damp rooms such as bathrooms or even the windowsills if there's a crack and then you get water damage that's coming through. Some remedies that you could include in the space is definitely increasing the ventilation. This can simply be opening windows in the home, incorporating houseplants to help purify the air. Some examples could be peace lilies, lady palm, and even spider plants and English ivy can help control carbon monoxide in the space. And of course, using air purifiers. So using this to make sure that we can remove the smaller particles that might be in the air that you don't typically see. And the final 3 elements that I have listed is maximizing natural light in any space can actually in turn help boost health and elevate our moods. Connecting to nature, which includes natural materials, colors, and plants. Even taking into consideration a view of the outdoors from inside the home. This can be extremely beneficial to help ground us and reduce stress. And finally, I always like to say a decluttered space creates a calm mind. So organizing our home can actually have a really therapeutic effect on us, where there are no visual distractions that can cause stress every single time that you look at it. So combining well-designed storage in the house to house all of the necessities and displaying items that bring joy, value, and meaning every time it's looked at for our clients, we can actually help combat the physical and mental clutter to create a healthy space. So I am personally obsessed with the home edit and the KonMari method. So if you watch either show, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about.
There are so many facets to this. It's unbelievable. And I can certainly relate to many of them. Really, how can designers think about and impact healthy homes?
Something to say about that. And it's one of my favorite things to talk about. And so how can a designer impact a healthy home? Well, the thing is that a designer has to consider the psychological and emotional impacts that a home or a business has on a person that occupies the space. A person's home, in particular, if we're talking residential, it has to celebrate who they are. They have to have an emotional connection to the space. Now, what I do in my practice of biographical design is I particularly connect someone to 6 points along their biography and reflect that in the space so that they have an emotional connection to the space. So here's an example. I once had a client who she was a fashionista glamour girl, and he was born and raised in the country on a farm. So an example of how I brought the two of them together is in a coffee table that I used. We had a coffee table that was a tree stump to celebrate his countryside. And it was gold leafed to celebrate her glamorous side. So that one coffee table celebrated both of them coming together in their space. So they now have an emotional connection to that coffee table because it is representative of their biography. And that's what I do in biographical design when I work with interior clients. Another example of this, to set Johnny up later, is one of my clients is Orange Theory Fitness. And how I did biographical design for their brand is that I actually designed the global headquarters wherein there was no orange in the space except for the chairs that the employees sat in. And the poetry there is that it's the employee that is the orange of the Orange Theory as it relates to the company, right? It's the employee. We then did orange trees growing out of their work tables to signify that it's the employee that gives life to the company. And so we sort of cheekily did that by way of orange trees growing out of their workspaces. And then on the trees, we had an artist carve the initials of the founding members. We had them carve those initials into the bark of the tree. And in some cases, there's a little heart around it. And so that is the way that we are infusing the emotional connection to the space by linking a person's biography to their space. And then to touch in particular to the part of the question that is, how can a designer impact the person's healthy living? And that has to do with how you lead your client. And the only way to really powerfully lead somebody is by going first. You can't ask someone to do something that you yourself are not doing. So do you have an emotionally healthy business? Do you have an emotional connection to your business? And if you do, and only if you do, can you ask your client to follow your leadership in doing the same?
Awesome. So amazing points, Katie. I loved everything that you've mentioned. And I would also like to add to that in making sure that all the projects encourage healthy and sustainable living throughout the day and the night. This can be from how materials are produced all the way through to the impact a space has on the person living in it, whether that is emotionally or physically, which is what Katie was also alluding to as well. Look for natural, non-toxic options that have low impact on the planet and human health, and really get to know your clients and the way that they live in the space. For instance, some questions that you can probe are, does it suit their lifestyle? What works and what does not work for them? Does their home or certain areas negatively impact their mood, focus, well-being, or energy? I also like to think inside the box. So it's not a typo. Think inside the box. As interior designers, instead of thinking outside of the box, we need to think inside the box. We can use our creativity to design spaces that may go against the perceived traditional layout of a home. For example, if you have a family room that, if you have a family that rarely eats in a dining table and never uses the dining space, think about how you could repurpose the use of this space to better suit their lifestyle and their needs. It could be transformed into a family games room, a main level office, which now more than ever with the pandemic, people are now working from home and learning from home. Or it could be even transformed into a really nice lounge area to enjoy a nice beverage every evening with their partner. As designers, I think that it's a really great opportunity to be the fresh eyes and the expert to clients, to design a space that really maximizes their entire footprint of their home and to ensure that it suits their lifestyle and, of course, their aspirations. And my final point is repurpose, upcycle, and donate. When designing a space, I like to find out from clients if there are any pieces in the home that they absolutely love, which I would like to incorporate or repurpose in the new design. These items may be cultural, sentimental. It could even remind them of people, experiences, or places that have great value and meaning to them. The goal is when we reveal the new spaces and clients see the repurposed items incorporated, it instantly connects them to the space, making it personable and to see a reflection of their true identity when they're in the space. And on the other side, I also like to ask clients if there's any items that they also dislike, if anything brings up negative emotions and memories every time that they see it. What they often don't realize is by association, we actually are very subtly and constantly reminded of these connections every single day. These can reinforce discomfort, irritation, and resentment, which I don't think really anyone wants to feel that level of energy or that negative energy at all. As a holistic designer, we help clients recognize this and focus on keeping objects that bring them joy and makes them actually feel good about it, and letting go of those items that no longer serve them or if they may no longer want or need. And as the saying goes, one person's garbage is another person's treasure. We should encourage clients to donate these items to charity, or they can try selling these items online and use that money towards their actual project, purchasing upcycled pieces for the project or purchasing new furnishings. With the environment in mind, we definitely do not want to end up throwing any items in the landfill.
And just to add to what we're already talking about, I think, as design professionals, we're so in tune with the physical components of a space, how the space flows, the spatial dimensions, how it makes us feel. We cover a lot of the bases. And I think the easiest part of all of this to overlook is the invisible portion of your space, which is the air volume. So I think, speaking specifically to indoor air quality, and pushing those questions forward and getting the solutions in front of your client so that they can make an informed decision. I think that's a great way to impact spaces. It's breathing is something we are doing involuntary. So it's not something that's going to be top of mind, whereas in terms of the aesthetics of a space, I sit at home during this pandemic and I just stare at things that I want to change, and it just inevitably happens. I'll get to that point eventually, but I won't get to my air quality because I'm not thinking about that. I assume my house is clean and the air is fresh, and maybe it's not, and I need someone to steer me in that direction. So I think as designers, we can really help. And I know Katie actually called out to Orange Theory. That is a project that we collectively worked on without knowing it. They've used our clean air system, but it's another case in point where, you know, you have a space of a lot of people, they're all breathing, you know, I'm sure you're not surprised by that, but nonetheless, you know, they're expelling potentially pathogens. So what do we do with that? And I think the biggest impact as designers, we can just focus on the solutions that we know work and manage that invisible space. Just some examples here. Restaurants, obviously any public spaces are going to be where you're thinking of these types of products, but it's, you know, it really boils down to where we live, where we exist, where we work. You know, we want to be comfortable in these spaces. We want to be safe. So this is what we need to think about.
And I know you have some interesting innovations in the future where, you know, science obviously will meet this. What do you think?
For sure. I mean, the one thing I'm seeing in the future is that the aesthetic aspect of design is merging with these types of technologies. So what you're seeing there is a beautiful ceiling fan, it's energy efficient, all of the same benefits prevail, but what you perhaps can't see is that there's a UVC light, so ultraviolet light, that is shining up on that ceiling. It's pulling air through that disinfection zone, and those people below are receiving clean air, essentially. And we're gonna learn a little bit more about this as we go through this talk today. But we're really, and I think Linda said this really well, you know, we focus so much on outside air and the importance of that. But where we live, where we exist 8-10 hours a day, and then sleep ultimately the rest of our day, you know, we don't focus on that as much. And maybe it's intuitive that it's going to be clean, but the reality is where we exist is where we're expelling pathogens. You know, that's where we're cohabitating or working. So we need to focus on this area. And I think that's what's happening. And I think the future looks bright in this regard, because it's no longer, you know, you have a hospital operating room with 15 air changes per hour, right? So you're bringing fresh air into that space 15 times an hour, which is a lot. And it's not something that's usually practical for your home or your office. Now it is. It really is. And what you're seeing on the screen there is achieving that same, call it operating room disinfection in a restaurant, in a waiting room, in an office. So that's really where I see science and design interacting and intersecting. And it's going to be, I think it's going to be the go forward.
We're seeing a lot. I'm seeing a lot of innovations that are starting to emerge too in our sector. Today's innovative products are becoming more intuitive, responding to conditions in the home, purifying the air, monitoring the water, providing things like dynamic lighting design to restore that our body's natural rhythm. We're seeing products that are basically providing a cleaner level of clean in our homes. We're all familiar with the motion devices that are in our homes, and we've got those voice and motion control devices that are showing up in areas that we normally didn't have them before, like in our showers and you know, and filling up that relaxing bath. So now bathtubs are coming with, you know, that water, steam, lighting, and aromatherapy. So all those chromotherapies that we are, or those relaxation therapies are coming into our built environment. Again, it's all supported with the built-in voice assistance, which really allows you to, you know, control, let's say, your tub. You can ask it to fill the tub, heat the tub, and drain the tub. So it's really becoming quite a digital world for a lot of us. The showers, for instance, experiencing the digital component in the shower allows us to turn those showers on, really customized. If we've got a particular temperature that we prefer versus our family members, we can activate that through our voice or through these apps that we're seeing now. We can add music. You know, if you want to really bring more nature into the environment, you can add sounds of nature as you're enjoying that in that space. Or if you need to, if you're in the morning and you need to listen to the news, you can do that also. As a matter of fact, one of the tenants in your building years ago had mirrors that were actually integrated, and you could watch the weather and you could hear news stories and so on. So this technology has been around. I think it's just not as the consumers were not aware of it as much as maybe the design trades were. But we're seeing other things like those voice activated mirrors that now allow you to, you know, I'm putting my makeup on in the morning, so I want the lighting to change for that versus doing makeup at night, and you can change the lighting to ensure that you're applying your makeup during for the right lighting conditions that you're going to go out in. There's so many different things that were happening. We already know about the touchless faucets in the kitchen, and down at Cavis back in 2019, we were seeing devices that were basically, you could say, you know, fill my cup or fill my glass 1 cup, or heat the water that's coming out. And so you can talk to your devices more now. So, and it's all being done instantly. Basically, you just have to ask now. Toilet seats, we've been looking at the washlets for the longest time, and, you know, and the comfort and the different things that the toilets are now doing. And so we're able to customize the temperature on those seats. We actually can warm the area around our feet. It's a whole experience that's coming into our home. And these are just two areas, the kitchen and the bath, that I've talked about. But there's so many more sections that are arising out of this. We're seeing a lot of upgrades in the bathroom area. But I love to look and to see what other countries are doing. And, you know, some of you might be surprised to hear this, but eventually it's going to come to Canada. You know, toilets that in Japan currently right now, we've got toilets that can actually gauge through urine testing the level of sugar in our systems. They've got devices that are actually built into the counters in the bathroom that measure your blood pressure. They have scales seamlessly integrated into the floor. You don't even know it's there, that are actually measuring your weight. And then I can't imagine how this works, and I'd love to know, but they've got measurement devices built into the faucets that when you wash your hands, it can actually identify your body fat. And so, you know, this is interesting. This is where science and health are really coming together. And, you know, and so we really want to, you know, we're going to have to do a lot more deeper dives. There's going to be a lot of what I call well washing out there. You're going to have to identify products that truly work and ones that don't. But in the next 10 years, I think we're going to see a lot of new innovative products or improvements to products that are really going to help us live better. Devices in the home that are going to improve the air quality. We are already seeing those type of devices happening. We've got systems that are helping you to improve the air quality and monitoring the air quality and bringing that fresh air inside. And so, you know, as I think it was Alicia earlier had said, the importance of opening that window and getting fresh air, but you also want to take into consideration, you know, what the humidity and the temperature is outside, because you could actually be bringing in some particular matter that you may not want into the environment. So it's really coming down to education and understanding, you know, how do I, as a design professional, play an important role in my client's health as I design out those spaces, and what are those innovations that we should be looking at to really help our clients live better and longer and really contribute to the well-being. So those are just a few of the things that we're seeing in happening in the innovation section.
That's just unbelievable what's happening right now. Wow. So conversely, what's hindering progress, do you think, in the world of healthy living, and what can we do as an industry?
You know, first of all, I love that whole conversation about innovations and technology and all that. I just got a Tesla, and that's kind of blowing my mind of like innovation and technology as it relates to automobiles. Like I'm learning every day from my new car. Yeah. So what's hindering progress in the world of healthy living? And again, I'm focused on emotional and psychological connections to a space. And what I know to be true that is hindering the progress of authenticity in space design is the idea that, or the fact that we came from cavemen originally. We were cavemen. And so back in cavemen days, we had cavemen brains. And those cavemen brains knew that if we were not a part of a culture, we would actually literally die, right? Because we needed the hunters and we needed the gatherers, and we needed to all come together to support each other to protect us from lions and tigers and bears. Well, and if you also think about, like, fast forward, I don't know, thousands of years to today, when we're modern people, the same sort of ideas are still holding true, still holding our progress in the way of authenticity. Because remember, like we talked about before, authenticity is the root of feeling and finding the joy in a space and that emotional connectivity. So if we think about like us as students, as young students, we had to fit the mold of the education system. We were even standardizedly tested to make sure that our, what we're learning is standardized, that we're all fitting in. And I think about, if any of you can relate to this, please let me know in the chat so I don't feel so alone. But when I was a little kid, I would wear sequin dresses and sequin shoes with sequin cuffs. Oh, I kind of do a little bit of that today, with sequin things and like a unicorn headband, right? And then as an adult, somehow it's like black t-shirt and jeans. Because there's this like as a child, we have this playful authenticity, and we feel we have permission to be fully self-expressed as a child, right? But then something happens when we transfer into like adult world that we wear like the black t-shirt and jeans, right? I'm not getting any love in the chat with that. Somebody tell me too.
I can relate. Yeah. I can relate, Katie.
You used to wear unicorn headbands too. Thank you, John.
I thought you were describing my childhood. Please continue.
Thank you. Yeah. So the opportunity then is for us as grown-ups in a modern day world to tap back into our authenticity. And that if we can do that, then we can forward the progress of emotional connectivity. Thank you, Crystal Collinson. Then we can forward this idea of authenticity in a space, because here's the thing. We will have a harder time tapping into wellness because we have a harder time tapping into joy. I mean, right? And if we don't have that authenticity, we can't tap into joy, right? And so here's the thing. If we don't have joy, it doesn't matter if we have clean air, right? Because we're joyless. And it's really the joy that we can bring to people as an interior designers if we can connect them to their authenticity. Now, here's the thing. Yes, Kara, thank you. Johnny totally could pull off sequins. So here's the thing. I know that we can relate to this if we think about a lie detector test. So we know lie detector tests, they've been around a very long time. Lie detector tests are these like little nodes that we can attach to our skin. And the lie detector test can actually measure the physiological change when we are not authentic. And so that can be as simple as saying your name wrong. The machine can read and pick up that that is a lie because it is out of authenticity. When we operate out of authenticity, our physiology actually responds to that and shows up differently. So just like you can ping a lie detector test when you're out of authenticity, if your home does not represent your authenticity, you will be constantly micro pinging a lie detector test in a way. And so the opportunity as designers is to bring to light, or to design, really, to design authentically representative spaces for our clients. And yes, thank you. It does sound exhausting. It is exhausting to live out of authenticity and to live constantly pinging a lie detector test. It's exhausting and it doesn't give us joy. And joy, I mean, that's what we're all after, isn't it? So here's the thing. You know what's being worse? You know what's worse than being rejected in authenticity is being accepted in a facade. So our opportunity as designers is to give our clients permission to live authentically self-expressed in space. Now, the only way to do that is by going first, and to model it for your clients by way of having a self-expression in your business, so that your business is a vehicle of your self-expression, so that you can invite your clients in to doing the same. The way I do it is through biographical design, and the way you do it is unique to you. But the opportunity is for you to tap into what that is for you. So here are two questions that I would ask you as a designer, and if you can answer these questions, great, you have the opportunity to lead your clients to do the same. Are you the only one in a room of 25 to 50 other designers that can raise your hand and say you're the only one that does what you do? I know that in a room of 100, 200 designers, I can be the only one that raises my hand to say I do biographical design. So can you raise your hand in a room of 50 other designers and say you're the only one that creates functional spaces? No. You're the only one that creates beautiful spaces? Definitely not. And so that brings up the second and last thing that I want to bring into this point, which is if the opposite of what you say you do is something that nobody wants, that's probably an opportunity to dig deeper into your authenticity. For example, I design functional spaces. Does anybody want a non-functional space? No. So then therein lies an opportunity for you to dig deeper into your authenticity so that you can let that shine and then give permission to your clients to live authentically in their spaces. Is this making sense? Say yes in the chat.
I'm saying yes out loud to you, Katie.
Definitely, I can relate. I'm in the progress of doing that myself, and I am so much happier in my home.
Everything you just said there, you can actually tie that right back to science. So when you talked about our roots, way back to cavemen and being in our DNA, what we're looking at, or what I'm hearing is our nervous system. We have two of them. We have that parasympathetic, which is our powerful, our positive, our boost our serotonin system. And then you've got your sympathetic, which is our primal flight and fight. And so some of the things that were hindering our progress in this healthy living is not understanding how our environments are impacting our innate or our inherited systems that we will never, for millions of years, we've had these systems. So it's not like they're going away anytime soon, but it's that whole idea of if you can create an environment that brings joy to somebody, you're going to increase their serotonin. You increase their serotonin, you're increasing their mood. You increase their mood, they're going to have, naturally they're going to feel comfortable, secure in their spaces. They're going to have restful sleep. And so there's a real blending of the sciences here and helping to understand that. And I think that for the longest time, and one of the things that is hindering us today is for the longest time, we've really looked at our environments from more of an aesthetic perspective. And we've been swayed by our clients who have, been following the various trends. And by no means am I saying don't follow the trends, because they are important. And especially if you look at, for instance, color trends and so on, it comes from, to some degree, a scientific or an analysis of what's happening out there in the world. So they are important. But if you drill it down and you listen to what Katie was saying, it really is about creating those environments that make us feel good subconsciously. Nobody wants to be in an environment that makes them feel threatened or uncomfortable. And so in order to really, or one of the things that are really hindering our progress is understanding how science and design are coming together to create better environments for our customers. And as an industry, we need to spend more time researching, listening to people from academia and from the sciences, from John Hopkins, and understanding, wellness within our built environment, or a wellness coach, and so on. And those are some of the things that I believe right now are just very high level that you could easily jump into. And we will see things changing over time. As some of the challenges that we're going to see is all that new technology coming out and the amount of knowledge and research we're going to have to put towards that. But what I can tell you right now is there are changes happening you don't even know about. The Well Building Standards, for instance, is just now preparing a new certification for residential homes, and that will be launched in 2 years' time. So this conversation today, even though it's 2 years before that certification comes out, is very timely, because what we are, if you jump onto this now, if you listen to the Katies and the Alicias and the Johnnies of the world and what they're bringing to you, and you start to build this into your design practice, you'll be well prepared when those certifications start to come out, so that you can really walk the talk. And a lot of people, and we found this with LEED, a lot of people jumped into LEED not knowing anything and did a lot of greenwashing. And so we will see a lot of well washing starting to happen, but it's experts like these individuals and these designers that are leading the charge that are going to really help you move your business forward and reduce the difficulty of getting into this. So that's a little bit of just my opinion on how we're hindering and in ways that we might be able to improve through as an association, or I should say as an industry.
So moving their businesses forward, that's perfect, Linda. When pitching to clients, how have you found success, Alicia and Katie, in getting clients to embrace holistic, healthy design and products?
So I would focus on the benefits clients can expect when they choose healthy and sustainable items for their home. It will give them peace of mind that furniture, furnishings, and decor that are brought into the home are safe for themselves and, most importantly, their family. It's a win-win outcome for them when they embrace that holistic or healthy side of design when we're redesigning their home. So A, the client ends up with a beautiful home that is healthy, both physically and psychologically, and B, by making the conscious effort to select sustainable options, they have lessened their impact on the environment, which makes them actually feel good about the choice that they've made. And my second point on the investment and the cost. I find that some clients can be really surprised by the overall cost for healthy or sustainable home products and may have that initial sticker shock, but let's be honest, that's pretty much seen across any of the industries, not just the interior design industry. Sometimes clients are just really not aware of the actual cost of items. And I find that it's a really great opportunity as designers to help educate our clients on costs and what they can expect. So firstly, we take the time to explain what goes into the overall construction and the production of sustainable and healthy items. So pretty much how is it made? Secondly, we share with them if there's any specific certifications for a product. For instance, FSC for sustainably sourced wood or GOTS for organic textiles that could impact the cost of items. Some other things that you can also mention are if items are fair trade, handcrafted, locally made, and ethically sourced. And my final point to wrap it up is you get what you pay for. I feel this is a very old but a very true statement to make. And my point is, although clients may actually pay a little bit initially up front, I position it to them that this is going to be an investment piece that they're going to have for many years. So this is going to bring them value in the long run. So for example, if you select an item that is built very poorly, it will likely not stand the test of time. If it needs to be replaced later, now the client has to come out of pocket and spend more money to replace this piece. And now they've pretty much probably spent more money than our original item that we wanted to propose. And this is likely going to end up being discarded and will end up in the landfill with a discarded item, which is obviously something that we do not want to happen as it's going to impact the environment.
These are brilliant points and so important. And I think that the overarching idea of what you're talking about, Alicia, is educating the client, which is so important and such an important role for us to, or hat for us to wear as designers. And what I would love to add to this is the importance of the sales pitch. I'm going to say that again. The importance of the sales pitch, because the leadership that you take in the sales pitch is going to determine the leadership that you are able to maintain throughout the entirety of the project. So if in the sales meeting, you take that leadership that is due to you and you enroll the client into the idea of healthy living in the sales meeting, then they will have the assumption, and they will have the assumption that that's the way the project is going to go. And when they have that assumption in the beginning that that's the way the project is going to go, you will have a much easier and greasier pathway leading them in that direction. So I can't stress enough the importance of the sales pitch, how you craft the sales pitch, what you say in your sales pitch. I can't stress the importance of crafting that sales pitch intentionally to have intentional leadership throughout the entirety of the project.
What advice would you give to a designer interested in your area of expertise or product?
If it's okay with everybody, if I just like follow this flow that I and go first with this. You know, I touched on it a little bit before, but the biggest advice that I would give, like Heidi, who is a graduating student, and Kara, who you wrote in the chat that you feel concerned with sometimes following how it should be. Listen, the industry is an incredible wealth of information, and it's an incredible, army of designers all gathering together to forward the movement of interior design. And sometimes we can feel like we need to do all the things that the industry says, and we should follow all the norms and the standards. And what I don't want you to do is should on yourself and should all over your business in a way that you are only operating in the shoulds that you have adopted. So the one piece of advice I would give to any designer is to first get clear on your differentiator. Getting clear on your differentiator will unlock for you the incredible wealth of value that you bring to people. When you unlock that special thing is when you can unlock unlimited income, because then you know your income is not tied to how much you charge for 1 hour, but you know that your wealth can be tied to the incredible value that you bring to people. For example, biographical design. I know that biographical design unlocked for me way more wealth than when I was operating in my business before having that awareness, which was like how many dollars per hour I charged. So I know that that is the most important place for you to start. And if I could just pat myself on the back for a hot second, if you don't already feel like you have clarity on what your value is in this world, your fingerprint, if you will, in the industry, I would love to offer whoever is listening a discovery call with me, where I'll jump on the phone with you on a Zoom call, and I'll help you discover what that is. You can book a call with me at thedesignershotline.com. thedesignershotline.com. It takes you straight to my calendar to book a call with me, and I'll support you in uncovering what that unique value proposition, what that unique differentiator is. And I'm a little bit really good at that. So I'd be happy to support the TIDC community in that way.
Awesome. I'm going to narrow our focus back down to airflow and air quality. Total 180. My advice, and I'll start by saying what not to do when we're talking about air quality, and I can totally throw myself under the bus here. At some point, I don't remember exactly when, but my wife and I bought an air purifier for our home. So a little portable unit, and it would have said something on the box like 90% effective against allergens or dust or pathogens. And again, that's like an A+. So I would be pretty happy with that if that was my marks. But that doesn't go very far in telling me what that actually means for my home. And I think as designers, my biggest advice is push that envelope, ask those tough questions. If it's Big Ass Fans, if it's anyone, to really show proof. And what you're seeing on the screen here is just one example of, there's airflow modeling. And why do we do that? Because we need to know how air is moving through the space. Because my little air purifier that's tucked away in a corner, I have no idea what airflow it's covering, what volume it's covering, and if the couch in front of it is blocking it. So, what does that mean to my space and my infection risk? The topic of indoor air quality risk aversion when it comes to something like SARS-CoV-2 is so critical. You need to get granular. So my advice is don't make the mistakes I made and buy something because you read a marketing material on a box. Ask the questions of, okay, so if your claim is you can reduce SARS-CoV-2 by X amount, how? And if they can't show you lab reports, that's a concern. The second stage to all of that is you ultimately want to get to a point where you can see what's on the screen for your home, for your office, for your school, and really show, okay, what's the baseline risk? Because an efficacy report, for us, our efficacy is extremely high. So in a lab, we can denature or deactivate SARS-CoV-2 4 or 5 log reduction. What that means to us is 99.99% or 99.999%. That's what we need to look for in this type of realm. Now, that only takes you so far though. So the part two of all of this is how do we relate that to our space? So this is one example that you were seeing on the screen for a lunchroom, right, in a manufacturing environment. The baseline risk in this particular lunchroom over 1 hour for any healthy individual that was sharing that space with one sick individual was 95% chance of catching COVID. And this is not hearsay, this is scientifically proven. We use the Wells-Riley equation. I would encourage anyone to look that up and understand that a little bit more and how it relates to air changes. But this is the level of disinfection that we can reduce that down to. And we're one of many, good solutions out there, but there's a lot of fluff and there's a lot to weed through to get here. So I would encourage designers to ask these tough questions. If you jump to the next slide, it's a classroom and extremely sensitive environment, but imagine an aesthetically pleasing product that is sustainable, that is providing comfort, but it's also disinfecting that room to a degree that is almost impossible unless you're working in an operating room. This is what we need to push for as the design community and as thought leaders when it comes to our clients or our clients' clients. This is ultimately what we want. All right, if you do have any questions, obviously reach out to us. I've put up Tracy's contact information here. She handles our residential department and she would love to talk to you. So if you have questions or you want to see a design or an airflow analysis, send it in. It's free. Lean on us.
Johnny and Katie, that was really great information. I want to touch back a little bit about what Katie said and knowing your differentiator. That's a standard practice in marketing, and as a marketing professional, we've always looked for that unique selling proposition or that differentiator. Today, it's more important than ever before. We're really moving towards a more personalized world where it's more about me, it's more about my interest. We're even seeing the trade shows and the consumer shows taking that same approach where, customization and really focusing in on niches. Canada, we say niches, and Katie in the States, you say niches, and I often say the riches are in the niches. Find your niche and really understand it. And and know the value of what you're bringing to your clients, because if you understand that, you can align a dollar amount to that. In a time of chaos, which we found ourselves in with COVID, all the rules are broken. There are no leaders. We were all happily going down that same path. We were showing up at the same events. We were meeting the same groups of people. We just, it was our community. And then you find yourself in that time of chaos, and everything, all the rules get thrown out the window. And so now there couldn't be a better time for you to, and I don't like using the word, but I will, pivot, or find that new road to walk down. And there is nobody really leading in this. At one point, we had a lot of leaders that were really guiding us down that path and really helping us, identify areas that we could improve our business in. Now it's kind of carte blanche. There are no leaders. This is that prime opportunity for you. If this is of interest for you, healthy living, wellness in the home, understanding it, to kind of grab that title and own it. It's an opportunity, but you've got to do your due diligence in terms of learning more, researching more, aligning yourselves with companies like, Big Ass Fans and so on. For instance, if lighting is important to you, maybe in your design services, you want to add in that you are a circadian lighting expert, and because you've done research, you have a greater understanding. You've built in your toolbox, you have lighting experts that can help guide you and provide you with information in order to do those projects right. I know that in Oakville, one of the custom home builders has a video up on the sleep sanctuary, and he is a higher end custom home builder, but he promotes good quality sleep. And why you want to hire his company is because he understands wellness in the home and how to really create that sleep sanctuary. And that goes beyond not just the bedding that you're putting in there or that healthy Durham bedroom set that you want to have in there, or the flooring choices, the colors of paint. It might even mean changing out the windows so you've got a reduced sound that's filtering into the space. Really, at the end of the day, knowledge matters, and it's important for us to really do that deep dive and learn that. And, you know, we don't have all the time as you're busy with projects, and I'm sure you're busy with so many more during this time right now. You're having less and less time to go out and learn things. So it's time for you to, you know, take advantage of opportunities that might be out there. And I'm going to just quickly mention the Livable Environment Conference that's happening at the end of this month. It's free for you to attend. Go to livablecanada.com and you can register. But what you're going to find there are over 30 experts that are from Johns Hopkins or neuroaesthetics and color, how color impacts health, you know, air quality, designing from an accessibility and aging in place, living in place, and wellness perspective. And so these individuals are experts in their own right, and you as a design professional can go in there, learn that information, take what you want and digest it and find what your niche is, and then incorporate that as a new service into your company. Maybe you want to start doing wellness assessments in the home. And in 2 years' time, when the WELL AP certification comes for single family residential, you know, you're going to see a lot of people jumping onto that and being that wellness expert. Time couldn't be better for you to do that now. So thank you for having me here today, Darylyn. It's been an amazing discussion. And oh my gosh, I actually have learned so much from Katie, from Alicia, and from Johnny. And I look forward to actually doing a deep dive into Johnny's products so I can learn more about the sanitization that your products bring. So thank you.
Well, you're very welcome. It was our pleasure for all of you to be here. We have a question, it looks like. Could you please repeat the website for the conference? We'll throw it up too in the chat if you want to. Linda.
Thank you. It's livablecanada.com. It started off actually for an event for you. It was actually, it was born back in 2010 at the design center that Darylyn runs. And we started talking about it then, and it took us until 2019 before we were able to really move it forward. But the whole idea is, you know, bringing really good quality information to our community here in Toronto. It went viral. I mean, I'm sorry, it went onto a virtual platform, and we ended up having a lot of global participants come in. So we're learning about what's happening in Japan or England or Greece or oh my gosh, the Nordic countries. Pay attention to what's happening in the Nordic countries for health and wellness. But it's great to have a platform virtually where you can bring international speakers in that can help us improve our environments here. So please, I hope
certainly clear there's tremendous opportunity in this area and so much to learn from all of you. Thank you so much. Are there any questions, burning questions anyone wants to add? I see comments about attending this conference is going to be amazing, I'm sure. And kudos to you, Linda, for your perseverance. You did it. Thank you so very much to all the panelists from Heidi. I'm inspired by all of you. Stay safe and healthy. Couldn't have said it better myself. Exactly. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Have a great afternoon. Stay healthy for sure.
Yep.
Bye.
Thanks, Darylyn.